Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 38th favorite dad in the family community, Papa West, Jacob West, here for another exciting episode of TMG Takes the Field, the weekly show where we talk about sports. Mainly football. Just football. Very exciting week last week with everything football-wise. Again, it's been a little bit since I have seen you last. But we did have some great stuff happen in college. Obviously, we talked about Montana State winning the FCS championship last week. In the last a lot longer than 7 days it has been since I have seen you. We did have both semifinal games of the college football playoffs. We had first off Miami beating Ole Miss 31-27. Very exciting game, very back and forth. I'll say it. Should have been pass interference on that last play. I understand the hand fighting and all that, but at a point, you can't tackle the guy in the end zone before the ball gets to him. That's all I'll say there. But regardless, Miami did win and is going on to the college football playoff finals, the national championship game. Who will they play? Well, that game happened the very next day. Indiana, Oregon. Very exciting game. This is a rematch. Indiana beat Oregon by like 3 points, I think, in Eugene. So a lot of conversation there. It's hard to beat a team twice. But hey, this one's at a neutral site. And it was a game. Indiana with the slaughtering is the best way to say it. 56-22. Never at any point was that game close. So Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti continue this marvelous run as our national championship is set. This upcoming Monday, Indiana versus Miami, a team who has not been there in close to 25 years, 24 years. It's been a while versus a team who I don't think has ever actually been there. If they have, it's been 40, 50 plus years, a long time. And no SEC team. Interesting what happens when an NIL is a thing. Other big news happening in college football. Dylan Raiola, at one point the number one recruit, played 2 years at Nebraska, did finish last season with a really bad knee injury, has hit the transfer portal, has committed to Oregon. Then other news, Oregon already had a quarterback, Dante Moore. A lot of conversation if he'll go to the NFL or if he'll stay. And then rather than probably playing for the Raiders or the Jets, Dante Moore is also staying in Oregon. So some interesting news there. We'll do a deeper dive into the actual transfer portal, kind of talk about where some star players went. But that was just kind of some big news. Oregon, two great quarterback recruits at least, Dante Moore and Dylan Raiola. Obviously, Dylan's probably going to sit out all year as he recovers from his knee injury. Red shirt and still have 2 more years there after Dante Moore leaves. But that was college football. Now we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of what football is. And if you're going to have meat and potatoes, actually, and if you're going to have a good steak, you got to have a potato on the side. Tato, how's it going?
Hey, doing good. Good to be back.
Did I just call myself a steak? Is that how that analogy worked out?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, however it went, however you want to take it. Great week last week. Every game but one was close. Every game but two ended in a one score. I was going to say one score the whole time, but no. One game was a blowout, and then a team came back and won. It's crazy. We did have on Saturday, the Rams beat the Panthers 34-31. And then that evening game, the Bears getting the win against the Packers, 31-27. Tato, there was one point where I had a message typed up to you, and I did not send that message. And it was very smart that I did not send that message because it was very negative on the Bears, and they turned it around. On Sunday, again, very exciting games happening. The Bills beat the Jaguars 27-24. 49ers and Eagles, that game happened. 49ers got the win 23-19. I'll say that. It would have been great if that score happened in the Chargers-Eagles game because that was the Monsters Inc. game. But at least it happened at one point this year. And then Sunday night, the Patriots did beat the Chargers 16-3. And then Monday night, the Texans beat the Steelers 30-6. So that's how our playoffs went. A lot of news as far as coaching went. Last time we talked, I believe there was 5 vacancies. We'll go with that. 2 more big ones announced. Obviously, we had Dable and Callahan of the Giants and Titans being let go in the middle of the season. We did also have the Browns letting go of Kevin Stefanski, the Falcons letting go of Raheem Morris, the Cardinals letting go of Jonathan Gannon, then the Dolphins getting rid of Mike McDaniels. All we have talked about. But we had 2 giant ones happen after I've seen you last. The 2 most tenured coaches in the league, John Harbaugh. I think it's John. I always get the Harbaugh brothers confused. But whatever Harbaugh of Baltimore was let go. And if you want to hear a great interview, Steve Busciotti, just his press conference after the fact. I have been singing that song all day because that is the greatest song I have ever heard. Oh, Lordy, Mr. Busciotti. Better than everybody. Greatest thing ever. But was asked if Tyler Loop makes that kick, is Harbaugh still coaching? One more week. But no, Harbaugh has been let go. And then other major news from their biggest rival, the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, after 17 years, I believe, is stepping down from coaching. A lot of talks as far as if he's actually stepping down, if he's going to take another position, or if he's going to go to media. But one thing we do know is that the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens will have a new coach. But hey, one of those vacancies is no more, at least for the most part. Harbaugh is likely headed to the Giants. Nothing is finalized, but a lot of reports coming out that the deal is mostly done. Just got to sign, cross some T's, dot some I's, and put a little John Hancock on there. Yep. But it does look like Harbaugh will be the new coach of the New York Giants. But no, Tato, any thoughts on this previous weekend that you want to share?
Yeah, we'll just go Bears first, obviously. Genuinely never lost faith for a second. One of the managers at the store I work at is a big, huge Packers dog. And after the week 16 game, he asked me, like, you were scared there for a minute, right? And I'm like, yeah, I had to admit it. There was a moment where I kind of checked out mentally on that one. But this time, I just genuinely never blunked for a minute. Like, I just knew it was going to happen. It's wild what this team has done all season to the point where a 21-point lead coming into the fourth quarter is just not safe. Or 18, what have you. It's really, really cool to see. It's just been a really fun season, especially from a Bears fan perspective. But, like, I think anyone even sitting on the outside has got to look at what they've done and be like, man, that's really cool. And just the season as a whole, a lot of tight games, a lot of crazy situations. It's one of those seasons where if you kind of forgot why you love the game, it really should have. This is why we love football. So big shout out to the season as a whole. Big shout out to the Bears season, obviously, keeping it going. And then on the coaching carousel, with the 2 bigger pieces of news that we have, I do think it is. I mean, obviously Tomlin stepping down willingly, so I don't know if I want to call that a mistake on the Steelers' part, but yeah, I don't know about letting these guys go. I think, especially in Tomlin's case, when you haven't had a losing season, and I get that this expectation in Pittsburgh is really high. That's a fucking classy organization. They've done a lot of winning. They've got a lot of Super Bowl rings. I just think after they eat 3 seasons in a row of being kicked out of the playoffs in week 15, both of those organizations are going to be like really like Tomlin and Harbaugh are going to start looking really good. And I do think that is in both those teams' future. Maybe not, maybe the Steelers less with just Lamar being a really good fucking quarterback option, or the Ravens, excuse me. I fucked that up. So yeah, I think the Steelers are in for a rude awakening. I think the Ravens might be as well, but Lamar could smooth that over depending on who they get.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of conversation for what the best job was. A lot of people had the Giants up there. Obviously 3 great offensive weapons. That defense had talent on there. But no, the second Harbaugh was let go, the Ravens instantly became the best available job, 100% because you have an MVP at quarterback, a 2-time MVP at quarterback. That definitely there's that room to develop there. And yeah, Steeler fans y'all are in for a rude awakening. I remember this was several years ago. I saw it was a chart and it was every team's last 3 coaches. And you can definitely see the good teams had a long bar. The really bad teams had a really short bar. And the Steelers were up there. 3 coaches in the last 50 years? It's been a while. And every coach has had success. Obviously, Tomlin won Super Bowl. Bill Cowher before him won Super Bowl. Not going to lie, I'm not that old. I don't know who the coach was before either of those 2. But I know he won. Whatever Tato said, I know he won 4.
That has been a lights out question.
Yeah. Saying that made us lose 5 viewers, but hey, they'll come back. And the other fun thing is, I don't know if you're friends with Robert Kastner on Facebook. I'm friends with Robert Kastner on Facebook. In the last 3 years, just all the negativity about Tomlin and then the praise whenever he stepped down. Robert, it's not going to look good next year. You don't have they don't have a quarterback, because even if Rodgers plays next year, the Favre cycle, he's not going to have a good year next year if he does.
If he doesn't going to the Vikings 100%.
Oh, yeah,
I'm on Favre Watch 2.0, baby.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he's not doing the full Favre rotation because he didn't go directly to the Vikings after playing with the Jets for 2 years. But hey, maybe the Packers curse is 2 years with the Jets and then 2 more years of football. The final year is with the Vikings. Maybe that's what the curse is. We'll have to see. But yeah. That's going to be an interesting division. And the other crazy thing is the AFC North, 3 head coaching jobs up for grabs. How it's not 4, I'll never know, because Zach Taylor is the luckiest man in the world. But no, it's going to be very interesting, at least in the next couple of weeks, to see who gets up there, who takes these openings. But one thing that I'm going to take the next couple minutes to talk about is what I want to see with the Eagles this offseason. Tato, whenever your season comes to an end, whether that's with a loss or a win, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to say what you want your team to do. But because my team, our season's over, one thing I really wanted to do, we did, and that is make a change in offensive play calling. We did let go of Kevin Patullo. A lot of conversation on if he's going to still be with the team because Nick Sirianni is hinting at him still being on there. I didn't hate the guy. I think instead of just ditching him altogether. I would have rather seen some differences in play calling, whether it's giving it to Nick or doing something else there. But definitely that when your final play to win the game, 14 yards away from the end zone is 4 verticals, you're stupid. It's not a smart play call. If you're 30 yards away, maybe. When you're half that, absolutely not. And so I am glad to see that there will be a change there. I would be open to a change in head coach. I love Sirianni to death. I know Tato just got a look there. And I want him on the team. But if you are an offensive minded coach and you cannot call offensive plays, you should not be a head coach. And I love Sirianni to death, and it hurts me to say that, but maybe give him like the head of football operations or spokesman of the team or some different job, but you have to do something different at head coach. I've seen quite a bit of the constant change in coordinators is just a Band-Aid, and we need to rip off the Band-Aid. And I am going to somewhat agree. I love Sirianni to death. I'm going to cheer him as long as he's the coach too, but I'll cheer the team as soon as he's not the coach. Kind of some more things. Obviously, we have a lot of free agents on our team.
I'll pop in quick just because I do have a thought on the line.
Okay.
I don't normally get I'm not the old guy yelling at the cloud very often. I'm not telling kids to get off my lawn, but the culture of firing coaches after firing coaches after making the playoffs doesn't quite sit right with me. And I mean, I get it if it's like a one time and then you exit in the first round after 4 or 5 years, sort of, but man, it just feels weird to hey man, we're you did the thing that fundamentally, getting into the tournament, I think should just, I think you should be able to keep your job after doing that. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm old. And I forgot who it was. It was like a Jerry Rice or a Dion saying something like this in a much more educated fashion and shit. But yeah, it's just firing these coaches that bring these winning seasons again. Seems weird to me. So that was Sirianni face. Same as I think it would be the same mistake as Tomlin and Harbaugh, even though he is less tenured.
I get that. And I'm not really, I don't want to lose him because I do love Sirianni to death. I think putting him in a different position would be great and still letting him on the sideline. But just as far as a head coach, somebody who's going to stick with the team, because I hate the fact that, we have Kellen Moore coming in. Does a great job, but it's only there for a year.
That's a tough stance too, because when you're the offensive coordinator of the high caliber playoff team, you're always going to get sniped. So
yeah,
he's kind of a victim of his own success, Jalen.
You're not wrong. And that's kind of one thing where a lot of reports have been Mike McDaniel or Brian Dable is who we're shooting at for offensive coordinator. I'd really like Cliff Kingsbury in there too. But probably seeing somebody who has failed as a head coach, seeing if that gives teams a little hesitancy to try to snipe them. Hey, we've seen Dable as a head coach. We've seen Mike McDaniels as a head coach. They're great offensive minds, but in charge of a whole team, not so much. Obviously,
McDaniel, how that works.
Yes. Obviously, there is everyone gets a second chance on a lot of stuff, so that's definitely not a for sure answer. But who knows? So again, like I was saying before you rudely interrupted me, goodness, Tato. We do have a lot of free agents on our team. Kind of some big ones: Dallas Goedert, Reed Blankenship, Jalen Phillips, who we picked up in a trade. Fred Johnson, one of our linemen, Brandon Graham. I could go on. It's a long list. And we don't have a lot of cap space. I think we either restructure Saquon and AJ Brown, kind of some of these higher ticket offensive weapons, we either restructure them or we get rid of them. Like with both of them, hey, you didn't have as good of a season. You don't deserve the money that we're giving you. Either take a pay cut or go somewhere else, because there are definitely some huge weapons that we could lose because we don't have the money. I'd say 100% try to re-sign Dallas, 100% try to re-sign Reed, and then just see what room is there too. I'd love to re-sign Jalen Phillips. I don't think we have to have him, because we have a really good defensive line as it is, and the draft's wide open too. I like our draft capital as it is. There's always room for some extra growth there. Obviously, if you trade AJ Brown or Saquon Barkley, we open that up. I'm a little more hesitant to get rid of Saquon just because I've seen him do very well, and he doesn't bring in a lot of drama like somebody else does. But also at the same point, huge drop off from last year to this year. And Tank Bigsby's a great running back. I'd love to see him have some more opportunities next year too. We were very successful when he was running the ball. I watched him. It was like 3rd and 40, or it was like 3rd and 26. Let's be honest here. And he got a first down. It was just a dive up the middle, and he got a first down. Saquon didn't have as many breakout runs. Restructure the line too, which Landon was hurt for most of the year, so I give him some slack there. But Cam Jurgens, how he's a Pro Bowler, I have no idea. Tyler Steen was awful. Maybe we get Mekhi Becton back because he had a really bad year with the Chargers. But definitely a lot of changing. I think we need to do, and kind of some restructuring, because we tried to go with a super team this year. It didn't really work out. We did a super team back in 2010. It definitely didn't work out. We should have learned from our mistakes there. So that's kind of some things that I'm looking at. Drafting, we got to get Lane Johnson's replacement. He missed half the season this season. We felt it. And try to get a little more depth, at least on the offensive line too, because I think there's a huge drop between our 3 key players on there and then everyone else. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the off season and our draft special when that is. But what everyone's here for, and that's our predictions. Tato, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how we did last week because I don't know where my notebook is. I know you did a lot better than me because that's just how
I think the Eagles might have been my only. Maybe. See, I feel like I had Texans. I definitely had Bears. I had Rams for sure. I definitely had Texans. Any which way, doesn't matter.
We just do this for fun. So let's get into it. Our division round playoffs. First, we have Saturday afternoon. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. I believe it is a 6 seed versus a 1 seed. This is 4:30. Both teams pretty healthy. Obviously, the Broncos did just have that bye last week, so got well rested after that. And then hopefully Josh Allen is able to rest his body a little bit after everything he did last week. I'm trying to pull up the spread, but DraftKings is wanting to say, do you like DraftKings? Click yes or no.
Broncos 1.5.
Thank you. No. Come on, DraftKings, do better.
Yeah, specifically even looking at DraftKings spread, it is Broncos 1.5.
So Broncos are a 1.5 point favorites. I'm going to go first on this one. And I think the Josh Allen magic ends on Saturday. And I really feel weird saying this because you know my thoughts on Bo Nix. He is trash. And while they haven't been great this year, they still somehow managed to end number one, have one of the best records in the NFL. And that defense is scary. And I think it is going to be just too much for Josh Allen. Again, the man needs some weapons. So I think the Broncos get the win here. Tato, what's your thoughts?
I think we kind of see the game going the same way, but I do have the coin ending on the other side. I think Josh Allen does get it done, gets at least to the AFC Championship game in what is kind of supposed to be his season in that on that side of the bracket. I think Josh Allen does finally overwhelm even a rested Broncos team.
All right. Next, we're moving on to the 8:00 game, also on Saturday. It's a divisional matchup as the 6 seed 49ers are traveling to Seattle to take on the 1 seed Seahawks. We've seen this game twice. It is a 1-1 matchup so far. The 49ers won at home. The Seahawks won at home. It's in Seattle. Right now, the Seahawks are a 7-point favorite, but Sam Darnold injured his oblique yesterday in training, in practice. He's listed as questionable. Tato, and also have to say, because it wouldn't be an episode of TMG Takes the Field if I didn't break news of a 49ers player getting hurt, right? George Kittle did tear his Achilles against the Eagles. Obviously, he's done for the season. He's probably going to miss a good chunk of next season too. But Tato, who's your pick?
Gotcha. Yes, it's Seahawks 1, Bears 2. Clearly, the pen for the script is in the hands of Secret Tunnel, and I think that carries on. I do have the Rain City Bitch Pigeons taking the victory.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo echo a lot of that. Except I'm not gonna call them what you called them. I do think the Seahawks get it done. Obviously, if Darnold doesn't play,
a lot there.
What?
I said what? It rains. It's Rain City. I don't see what's wrong with that.
I will say a lot of this rests on Sam Darnold. If he's not healthy, I don't trust Drew Lock. I think he can be electric, but I don't think he'll be able to do enough to get the win there. But I do think Darnold's able to rest up enough, be able to play at least to 75% with Seattle's defense. And their weapons on offense, I think is going to be enough. So I do have Seattle getting the win. And it's really hard to overcome losing Kittle. I realize they did it for a couple weeks this year. But in the playoffs, it's a different animal. And Jake Tongus is fun and all, but when Brock Purdy doesn't have either of his favorite weapons, it's just going to be too much for him, I think. So 49ers get the win, but I'm picking the Seahawks. Next, we're going to move on to our Sunday games. Our mid-afternoon game, the Houston Texans are traveling to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots are a 3-point favorite. I'm going to go first on this one. As of right now, the Texans are the hottest team in the NFL. I believe it is now a 9-game win streak or 8-game win streak after beating the Steelers. And that is the best defense in the NFL right now. The Patriots have been pretty scary. They got to Justin Herbert Sunday night a lot more than I thought they would. Spent a lot of that game on the ground. And then you watch the introductions and see where his offensive line is ranked in each position group. And his highest ranked offensive lineman is ranked 26 out of all of, I believe it's his center or one of his guards. That's a rough offensive line. Texans don't have that great of a line. And so I do think it's gonna be feisty. But I have the Texans getting the upset. Tato, what do you say?
This for me is the hardest game of the week.
Yep.
It is. I mean, it's that game. It is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, and I guess since I'm already being an old ass man with the coaching theories, I will say defense gets it done. I'll take the Texans.
They both have defenses, though. Your logic is not sound. All right. And our final game in this divisional round of the playoffs, it's a 4:30 game or 6:30 because of time changes. So no true Sunday night game. But we do have the Rams traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. And this is an interesting one. The Rams are a 4.5 point favorites. So Tato, who gets your pick?
Yeah, I love it. I would rather the Bears be the dogs. It's the story this season. It is, man, it's starting to feel like destiny. Yeah, I got the Bears.
Real quick,
cold. Rams have not played a game under 45 degrees.
I was going to ask, what's the temperature looking like down there?
Cold.
Yeah. One of the guys on Rich Eisen was like, the Rams have never played in the cold. Well, yeah, they have. I mean, they're grown men. They've been playing for years. But still,
I went to LA for 3 days, man. And
it's not cold down
there. It changed me.
Yeah.
I came back, and that was in the middle of September. It was still 40 out here, and I was effed for like a couple weeks. Yeah, LA Rich Eisen is right. LA thins the blood.
Yep. Regardless, though, I mean, they got heaters. They can stay warm.
Maybe.
But one thing I will say, you're not wrong.
We don't
it didn't work out for the Packers. That's for sure. One thing I will say, though, is consistency is key. And the Rams favored so heavily in like week 13, week 14, and they just fell off and have really skirted by the skin of their teeth. And you know who hasn't? Well, no, the Bears have really skirted by the skin of their teeth too. But at the same point, the Bears have looked really good, except for the first 3 quarters against the Packers last week, and then most of the game against the Lions the week before. But it's also one of those where I've seen the Rams get a good sizable lead, and then they let teams come back. Happened with the Eagles. Really happened with the Panthers last week. They were able to do just enough to get the win. You can't do that with the Bears. You give the Bears just a little bit of steam, that defense becomes pretty unstoppable, and that offense is crazy. And I don't think the Rams are going to be able to stop the Bears defense in that fourth quarter or stop the Bears offense in that fourth quarter either. They can't stop either. And I do think the Bears get it done. It's still wild that they're underdogs in that game. But hey, that's been our picks. For Tato, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, your survivor pick, who's definitely going to get the win this week. You have 1 in 8 options, so it's in your favor. And hey, go outside, touch grass, put on a coat because it's cold outside. It's been like 24, 25 degrees here, but the wind has been so brutal. So put on a coat. Or don't. I really don't care. Not your dad. But I could be your papa.